What's up, guys? It's Suko the Great, and today I kind of just want to talk. This isn't really a review, this isn't a guide, and I'm not trying to convince anyone of anything crazy. I just want to rant a little and get my thoughts out there. This video is basically me talking about Arc Raiders, my experience with it, how I got into it, and why this game genuinely surprised me. I didn't expect to care about this game, I didn't expect to buy it, and I definitely didn't expect it to take up as much time as it has. So if you played Arc Raiders, you'll probably relate. And if you haven't, this might give you an idea of why people are hooked onto it. At first, I didn't know anything about Arc Raiders. I'd see clips on my Instagram or TikTok about, the random gunfights, people looting, the robots in the game, the extraction points, but I never really understood what I was looking at, so I just scrolled past it. And looking back now, that's kind of funny and like a little bit of crazy foreshadowing because now I'm actually addicted to the game. At the time, I was locked into Battlefield 6. Battlefield 6 was my main game. I was grinding it, enjoying it, of course, making videos on it, which, go check out, the videos that I made on my channel. And honestly, any game that wasn't Battlefield at the time felt secondary to me. So when one of my boys told me during the beta stages of Arc Raiders, yo, we should try it, this game looks crazy, I brushed him off immediately. I was like, nah, Battlefield is my thing right now. So in terms of what pushed me to try it, I'd say the biggest influences were, my brother. He got the game not when it dropped, but in the early stages, I think maybe a week or whatnot. I'm not entirely sure, but basically I'd be in these Discord channels or party channels with him and his friends while they were playing, and I'd hear them talking about the raids, looting, dying, extracting. But since I wasn't watching their screens, none of that really clicked for me. People around me kept telling me, yo, this game's sick, you should try it, but I completely ignored them until one random night, late as hell, I just said screw it and I bought the game. And honestly, one of the biggest reasons I even did that was the price. This game not being full price is a huge deal. It's honestly refreshing not having to drop $90 to $100 plus tax just to play a game. I play 2K every year, so trust me, I know the pain. I hate to use this as an example, but you pay full price just to load into the game, and you're basically expected to spend even more on VC just to compete. And that's not the case with a lot of other games, but just the fact that you have to pay that much or an annoying price just to play a game, it's a bummer. So seeing Arc Raiders price lower, especially during the holiday sales, made it an easy decision. Now that I've played it, I can confidently say that this is one of the best $60 purchases I've ever made on a multiplayer game. No question. Another thing that pushed me to purchase the game was Arc Raiders winning Best Multiplayer Game of the Year. And I'll be honest, I wanted Battlefield 6 to win. I was biased and I kind of wanted that validation of yeah, this is the game I've been grinding, if it did win. But, once Arc Raiders won, it opened my mind. I was like, alright, there's clearly a reason this game is getting this kind of recognition. And now that I've played it, yeah, I get it. It deserves it, for sure. Now, when I first loaded into Arc Raiders, it was a lot. The workshop, the skill tree, the different trials, the projects. At that time, I didn't know what it meant because I didn't have it unlocked, but, just, the traders and the raider deck and all that kind of stuff, I didn't know what half of it meant. And I went into all of this completely solo. I had no friends explaining things live, no party chat walkthroughs, and honestly, I'm glad I did it that way. Because once things started clicking, I had so many aha moments. You start realizing what's valuable to you, what's worth selling, what you should recycle, what you should save. The game feels simple, but it's deep, and it respects your decisions. At the core, Arc Raiders is very simple. You drop into the raid, you start running around, you loot, you survive, and you extract. But what makes it special is the intensity. Every raid feels different. You're constantly thinking about, the time, the noise, your loadout, your resources, other players, the AI or the ARC they like to call it. That constant awareness creates this paranoia that I like to see it in a good way. You're basically always locked in and dialed about your surroundings. Sound is huge in this game. If you're sprinting around, you're basically broadcasting your location. If you slow down, crouch, and listen, you might hear someone before they hear you. And that single detail can decide whether you live or die. Every gunshot matters, every footstep matters, every bad decision matters. And that's what keeps the game intense. Another thing I'd like to highlight is, the AI and arc raiders, or the arc, I believe is done incredibly well. They're annoying, but in the way that makes sense. The arc and arc raiders expose enemy positions, they punish careless movement, and they force you to reposition based on them. From ticks to rollers to wasps to snitches to the big ones like the bastions, the bombardiers, none of them feel pointless. And trust me, you would think an AI in a game is like, dumb and you could work around and you could manipulate it. They are not dumb. I'm telling you, they will kill you. And that balance between, the PvE, person versus environment, and the PvP, player versus player, is one of the game's biggest strengths, no doubt. Another thing in Arc Raiders is the proximity chat. And I'd like to believe that this is the heart of the game. Even without a mic, the emotes and the voice lines that your character does when you emote is enough to communicate. But when people use their mics, that's where the magic happens. You'll have wholesome moments, you'll have funny moments, you'll have very tense standoffs, and you'll have betrayals. One raid you're teaming up with a random in proximity chat, and the next you're chasing someone while talking trash also in proximity chat. It makes every encounter feel real and like very in the moment. Another game mechanic in this game is obviously the looting, and I find that it actually feels important. Finding good loot actually matters, whether you find like purple gear, legendary items, keys to rooms. Basically, once you find something valuable, your entire mindset shifts. You stop hunting and going for loot, and you start surviving by any means. And yeah, dying with good loot sucks, but the game isn't overly punishing. You could definitely recover from dying with your good loot by, crafting or rebuilding or purchasing. And I think that balance is perfect. The gunplay and movement feels familiar but unique. The gunplay in Arc Raiders reminds me a lot of The Last of Us, especially the second one. I think what does it for me that reminds me of The Last of Us is the over-the-shoulder aiming, the deliberate movement, scarce resources, how suppressors matter a lot, how ammo matters. Even low-tier weapons can kill fully geared players. That possibility or aspect alone makes the PvP feel fair and rewarding. One of the most important aspects of Arc Raiders is definitely the playing field, or the maps. Each map feels different, whether it's Dam, Spaceport, Stella Montes, Blue Gate. They're all unique. And then on top of them all being different, you add events to them like night raids or cold snaps, which is something they recently added because of the season and the time of the year and stuff. The matriarch events, the lock to gate event. Obviously it's the same map, same playing field, but having these events bring a totally different experience. And what's really cool about them is they're all in rotation. So if one map has an event, it's not going to always be that event on that map. It's going to rotate. It's going to cycle through Cold Snap. It's going to cycle through, the Night Raid. It's going to cycle through the Matriarch. And it just, constantly moves, it constantly rotates depending on the time of the day. I think that's really neat because it keeps the experience, like I said, different, and it keeps it fresh. So the reason why this game has me hooked is it does something a lot of games doesn't. It respects your time, it respects your intelligence, it respects your choices, and I'd like to believe that you basically decide your fate. About 20% of the raid feels predictable, the other 80% feels completely unpredictable. That 20% being your loadout that you're going to bring in, possibly where you want to go, that you're going to spawn in somewhere random, but that's about it. That rest of the 80% feels like it's in fate's hands or in God's hands, and I really enjoy that aspect. So yeah, that's kind of my thoughts and my little rant on Arc Raiders right now. I believe it's super intense, it's unique, and it's something very refreshing. Whether you go in solo, whether you go in with another person or a full squad, it always feels different, and different is good. If you've played it, let me know your experience in the comments. And if you haven't, honestly, do what you want, but I'd say give it a shot. And yeah, if you enjoyed the video, make sure you subscribe. Make sure to leave a like and a comment. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.